All right, let's bring on Brian Dutcher, Aztecs men's basketball coach, after a huge victory last night, 85-49. Dutch, how are you this morning?
Well, pretty good. We survived the rain, the late start, and San Jose State for a victory, so I'm pretty happy.
What stood out the most to you about your team last night?
25 assists on 35 baskets. So even though we scored 85, we did it the right way. We shared the ball. People are a little concerned over the three-point shooting, and so was I, but when we're driving into the paint and kicking it out for open threes, you have to take some. And unfortunately, they didn't go in the first half, and we made some the second.
Dutch, anytime you're going up against a team lesser, I don't want to insult San Jose State, but their record is what it is. Are you always cognizant of potentially a letdown, playing down a competition and looking for those signs to make sure you eradicate it immediately if you see it?
Absolutely. They look at the records. They're like us. They see how that other team's playing. They were coming off a bad road loss to New Mexico. And so I was a little concerned, but I brought up one time to Trey and the team that, they had beat us last year at their place, and Trey basically told me, hey, already been discussed. I said, okay, we'll put that to bed. So I knew when they had already talked about last year's game that they'd be ready to play.
It speaks a lot to the leadership that you got on that team. Do you like the leaders and who's coming to the forefront of the roster?
Yeah, Malik and Trey were sensational last night, and most people will think, well, Trey, he didn't score that much. He took 4 shots, but he had 7 assists and 1 turnover. So he was the guy that was moving the ball, that was giving up part of his offensive game to get other people shots. And so as a coach, you just love to see that when maybe one of your best offensive players is moving the ball instead of forcing up shots. And then Malik was really good, 8 for 10 from the field, 17 points, shooting high percentage, making the right play. So when your seniors play that well, you've got a good chance to win.
Dutch, do you feel like you're still the team that's circled as the bullseye? You still feel like you're not only just a big dog in the Mountain West Conference, but a team that you're always going to get their attempted best because you're San Diego State University?
Absolutely. I mean, we have the most Mountain West titles in basketball. Everybody knows that. They know we're a measuring stick. And so maybe we struggled last year, but overall as a program, they know that we're the gold standard, and we get everyone's best effort. So I'm anticipating the game at Boise is going to be very intense, very hard fought on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday coming up, Boise State. You got 3 wins in a row heading into the meat of conference basketball play. Are you pleased with where your team's at, and what kind of improvements would you like to see as you're moving into the meat of that schedule?
I'd like to see us shoot the ball a little better from 3. We're seeing a lot of zone. Boise will zone us. San Jose zoned us some. Everybody is trying some zone against us. Our zone offense is getting better. But at some level, it's like football. When they're packing the line of scrimmage, you have to throw the ball. So when they're packed in the paint, at some level, you have to shoot a 3-ball in occasionally to loosen them up. So I like to shoot the 3, but I want to shoot it like we have been, off penetration, off post touches, instead of just coming down and taking the first one, to maybe get the ball in the paint somehow off a drive or off a post touch and kick it out for the 3. So I'd like to see maybe a little bit improved 3-point shooting.
Hey, not only do we have Aztecs basketball coming up on Saturday against Boise State, we also have the Brian Dutcher Show, 6 o'clock tomorrow night at On the Border. I'll be there. Dutcher will be there. Dutch, Rocky Long was spending an entire hour with me each and every week. Are you ready for this? Are you buckled up?
If I could live up to Rocky's standard, it's going to be a heck of a show.
No, I think we're going to have a really great time. And looking ahead to Boise State, why don't we do a little bit of that right now? We'll get to more of it tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. But what is Boise State's depth? How do you match up against them?
Well, they have the preseason player of the year, Chandler Hutchinson, who has just played a monster season so far. He's a big guard. He attacks to the basket, finishes. If he's shooting the 3, then he's really dangerous. They spread you out, and they drive the ball. This will be containing dribble drive all game. And then defensively, they're going to mix zone and man. And so we know what the challenge is. I mean, we've had some incredible games with Boise. A couple of years ago at our place, they hit 2 threes at the very end of the game to beat us. I remember at their place when Dwayne Poley and Xavier Thames were in there together, they were ready to storm the court on us until Xavier drove and kicked it to Dwayne Poley for a 3 to win the game. So these games are always really close. They're always really competitive, and I just anticipate the same for this Saturday.
Coach, you've gotten some really excellent production out of Jalen McDaniels, redshirt freshman, had 13 last night, real high field goal percentage. What are you seeing out of him that's exciting for the future?
Jalen just knows how to play. I don't have to run a play for Jalen for him to score double figures and get double-figure rebounds. He just knows how to move on the floor. And so he plays off others, which makes him doubly dangerous. So as they're concentrating on a Trey Kell drive, he'll slide into that little window and get it and finish. If we shoot a jump shot and he's on the perimeter, he'll run in from a distance and use his quickness and athleticism to get around people to get a tip in. He runs the floor like a gazelle. So I'm real encouraged with what Jalen's given us, and I think the future is even brighter for that young man.
Coach, you said he runs the floor like a gazelle. He's really slightly built. Are you going to plan on putting some weight on him, or you just let him be and let him do his thing?
We put 20 pounds on him last year, and I can't see it yet. So if we could get 10 or 20 this summer, in a couple of years, I think you're going to see him fill out. And, he's a finicky eater, which is not a good thing. So I want him, we got guys that are too big on the team. Someone said, well, we should let one guy fill his plate, Jalen fill his plate, and then switch plates. Try to fatten one of them up and get the other one skinnier. So we're going to try to keep encouraging him to eat as much as he can.
Dutch, we do like talking about the youths on this show and how people have changed, how kids have changed. Think about when you first got into coaching, maybe when you were, I don't know, let's say maybe your early to late 20s, the 18 to 22-year-olds you were dealing with then. Now fast forward to today, 30 years later. How different are they, or are they perhaps more similar than we'd think?
I think they just have the world at their fingertips. It's the phones. They get instant gratification on who's talking to them at any moment, and it's just there's a lot of distractions out there. They come in before the games, and, it's hard for them not to want to look at their phones and see who's texted them or what's been posted, and you just see it. That's the way it is. And, like when we have a team meal, what we try to do is we don't allow them to bring their phones. We said this is a chance to interact with your teammates, not for you to be on the phone talking to someone 1,000 miles away. So we're trying to keep their attention, but I just think the way society is now, everybody's on their phone constantly, and they're checking what other people think of them and what they have to say.
Coach, what kind of challenges for you as a coach? Because you got Twitter, you got Instagram, you got people praising them, you got people criticizing them, almost kind of grooming what they're doing on the court outside of what you necessarily want them to do. Do you ever run into that where they're getting coached up by people who have no business being a coach, and you're trying to get them to do what you would like?
All the time. I mean, that's coaching. These people, that are outside the program that some of them have good advice. Some of them give them insightful things to work on. But we want to make sure we're all on the same page. And so we work real hard to say, listen, these people with the recommendations, they're not here every day. They're not at practice. They're not at every game. They're not at every film session. Trust in us. Trust in what you see in tape. Trust in the process, and you'll get better. And so not all the people have bad advice. It's just that they're not there daily. And so we try to get them to believe in what they do daily instead of what people just see on a game day.
Who are they? Are they their former coaches, AAU coaches, consultants? Who are the people?
It's it might be a high school coach. It might be an AAU coach. It might be parents. It might be an uncle. It could be a lot of these kids have trainers now away from us, where they have skill development work. And like I said, they're not all negative. This is not all a negative. I mean, these kids have resources that we never had when we were younger. You look at softball, and they have the hitting coaches and the pitching coaches, and everyone has a specialty coach. And so I think the level of play has improved because of that. But, that I like to say, the summer is for the kids. That's their time to improve their game. When they come to me in the fall and winter, it's about the team. I improve the team's game. So I'm in favor of all the work they do away from me to improve their games. But when they come to me, it's about the team. It's not about individual improvement at that time. It's about improving the team. And so I think when we all work together and that's the goal, then good things happen.
Well, the Aztecs put it on San Jose State last night. They win big, 85-49. Brian Dutcher and his crew improved to 11-4 in the season, 3-1 inside conference play. Next up is Boise State on Saturday in Boise, right here on Xtra 1360. And Dutch looking forward to it tomorrow night, 6 o'clock at On the Border. We'll be there live for an entire hour. Perhaps we'll have a chance to have, if you go, maybe a chance to ask Brian Dutcher a question yourself. I'll certainly have plenty up my sleeve, Dutch. Looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Coach.
Good stuff.